So, Mike, hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good.
Back again. You like this stuff, don't you?
I kind of do. This is fun for me. So, as long as you don't kick me out, I'll continue doing it.
Oh, hell no, man. We're gonna sit here and talk or not, man. This is kind of the idea we had. We'll bring up some ideas that's going to be that it impacts our industry and how it affects why the association would be an important part to be a member of because of what we stand for.
Right.
And we got two hot topics again. The last time we sat here, we talked about some of the towing issues that you had going on.
Yeah.
Which is good information because how many towers actually know?
Not many, and we got to get the word out. And
yeah, I think that's kind of why we discussed as a board for AASP PA is that this is a good platform to kind of get that word out of what we do as an association.
Right.
What's the benefit of joining the association? It is information, networking.
Networking's huge.
It is huge. I know my father said a long time ago, if it wouldn't have been for being a member of this association, the business wouldn't be where it's at. Right. So it's a huge benefit. The other thing is legislation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're going to touch on here with these initial episodes is legislation that is important to our industry. And some of the words out there from non-members, well, it'll happen whether I'm a part or not. What's your thought about that?
So if we don't have members, things will happen, and then it's too late.
Exactly.
And then we don't have the ability to fight something, and then we're kind of caught with our hand in the cookie jar, and what do we do?
A good example is when there was a lady back in the 60s that didn't want prayer in school.
Okay.
And the prayer went out of school because nobody stood up.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea of what can happen negatively for good or bad, that if you don't have the voices legislation takes voices.
Yes. And if there's no voices, people are like, oh, it's not a big deal to them. You know, we didn't hear anything. So apparently they're okay with it. And
because what does our voted legislators do? They look for the constituents' major complaints, concerns, and that's what their platform is supposed to be. And if you don't have that many people standing up and saying we're against this, things are going to happen.
Yeah, and they may not understand why we do the things that we do, and they think we're just money grabbing, or they don't understand. So it takes education on both sides.
Exactly.
And there's the legislators. Sometimes they're not as smart as what they should be on situations, and they may not know that this is why we have to do it, and so they need an association to educate them, and
that's where AASP PA comes in. Any association that has this format, it's a way to educate the legislators,
right,
the constituents, of why these things are necessary or not necessary, why we feel we're opposed or we're in agreement with them.
Yeah. Because we could be in agreement with something.
We could.
Yeah.
And
we're not always against anything. It might be
something for the good. But if we stand up as a voice, like an association represents many shop owners in the state of Pennsylvania, that we're coming as one vote with 400 or 500 voices.
And it's important to let people know that we're member driven. It's not just a board that decides.
No, it is not.
So it's what our members want, what our members think should happen. And there's some topics that I don't agree with, and a lot of and probably will hit on that a little bit today on some of the things that and that's what's important, that we're not all going to agree on everything.
Nobody ever does. It's never been.
It's finding that middle ground. That okay,
Right.
I see your point on this side, and you see my point on this side. So where can we meet in the middle? That will help everybody and not affect anybody in a negative way. So
Yep. And like you said, if you want to find out more about AASP PA, the Alliance of Automotive Service Providers of Pennsylvania, go to our website, aasp-pa.org. Follow us on Facebook at AASP of PA. We are member driven. And what does that mean? So what that means is, yes, we do have a board of directors. Mm-hmm. We have a paid staff of an executive director, a training director. However, the state is broken up into chapters.
Yep.
And each chapter has one or two representatives.
Delegates, I think.
Delegates.
Yep.
And what they do is they bring that voice to the board of directors. So
Right.
the board might make suggestions. The members vote yay or nay.
Right.
Kind of like legislation.
Yes.
Legislators will make a suggestion on a bill, bring it to a committee.
Mm-hmm.
The committee says yay or nay. If they say yay, it comes out of committee, goes to the floor, it gets voted on, and then so on.
Right.
That's just the way it works. It's not supposed to be driven from the top down.
No. It's bottom up.
Yep. And that's where we stand as an association, and that's why we have a lobbyist, John Kulik, who is constantly in contact with our legislators, our senators from PA, on issues that we feel are good and beneficial to the industry.
I think he pretty much lives in Harrisburg.
Yes.
in the Capitol building. He has
done this for quite a long time.
Yeah. He is very valuable.
Yes, he is. And he's built up a good rapport. My chapter has a legislative night coming up here on May 4th, and we've always had a very good rapport with our local legislation here in this county. Mm-hmm. I think I have 5 legislators coming.
Wow, that's amazing.
Just 2 senators and 3 representatives.
Wow.
So
that's great.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I just need to get the members to show up.
Yeah, because you don't want to be standing there with 5
legislators and 5 attendees.
Yeah.
That's not a good showing. That's not how politics work.
But,
So the 2 bills that we are really concentrating on today, this stuff has been introduced in the past, and these are Senate bills. So the first one is the Senate Bill 561, introduced by Senator Langerhall. And the other one is 562, same thing, introduced by Senator Langerhall. These are both emission-related bills, and I briefly read over them. So what did you get out of this, Mike? I mean, they're looking to exempt some vehicles. They're looking to add some counties to the non-IM counties.
So this first one, 561, from what I understand is that it is going to exempt
Vehicles for the first 5 years, I believe it is.
Yes. And is this the one that has to do with the county? No, the 562 is the counties. Yeah. So, they're trying to eliminate the vehicles, like, what is it, the 5 years?
First 5 years.
First 5 years, no emissions needed.
And then I think they are writing in here, there are, since the IM has been in place since the early 2000s, there are some vehicles that come out with no gas caps.
Yes.
So they are exempting them from the gas cap check. Of course, no gas cap to check.
Right.
But you still got to go through how many clicks on the machine to get through that. And I think that's where the manufacturers of the machine should put up gas capless system, bam, go to the next sec. Instead of sitting there, no.
I agree. I mean, it's well, what's your thought on it? Because
the first 5 years, okay, I'm kind of torn on it. I agree with. Now, what if it's a fleet vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
It could be driven 30,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
So I'm a little torn on the first 5 years. It may should read, okay, first 5 years or 50,000 miles, and then it's exempt. because it could be a fleet vehicle. Now, we all know in this industry, highway miles are not as hard on a vehicle as people think it is.
Yeah.
They're actually better.
Yes.
But it actually racks up your mileage for more stuff to prone to fail quicker.
Right.
So I don't agree with the 5-year overall exemption. That's just my personal feeling because, if let's just say, a retired couple buys it, they're never going to put 50,000 miles on a car in their life.
Right.
But you buy it as a fleet car, they could put 30,000 miles a year in that car, and in 5 years, it's 150,000 miles. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to trade it in and sell it.
I'd like to see some good statistics on vehicle repairs and not the state statistics as far as, hey, this is what we found from our emissions testing centers that we see X amount of pass and X amount of fail. I want some real good hard data that states what are we seeing for failure?
Right. What's the failure rate?
Right.
And I think that goes along with the safety inspection program.
Mm-hmm.
The state's always looking for data to back up the program.
Yeah.
How many people actually fill all that data in?
Yeah.
That's the problem. And with the emission test, you fail it on the check engine light.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to fail it. You're supposed to test it as it's presented.
Yes.
Don't bring it in, do the safety inspection, tell the customer, hey, your check engine light's on, it's going to fail.
Right.
Test it as it's presented. Now it helps, not only helps the customer out to get a sticker quicker,
mm-hmm.
it also gives the state the data that you're saying to recoup that of what actually failed and what took it to fix it.
So what do you see? For me, we got customers that are calling us up as soon as their check engine light comes on. Not even inspection related. So as soon as their check engine light comes on, they're on the phone saying, "Hey, my check engine light came on." I think it has shifted. The customers have shifted.
The IM program has made people more aware of it.
Yeah, 20 years ago, people had a different opinion on their check engine light. It was, put a piece of tape over it and it's good to go.
Do you remember when the IM program came out and they had that little video of the guy cutting the tape out, sticking it on the dash?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was funny.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think now, for most people, when they get a warning light on their car, they're calling.
Even if it's a TPMS light.
Yes. So this is where my opinion on the whole program has, it seems like it has done its job.
Educated the consumer.
Yes. And now the consumer is, hey, I want the best fuel economy I can get, because we've always told our customers, if your check engine light's on, you're probably not getting the best fuel economy. And, the dollar matters now.
Yeah, it does. Especially with the price of gas.
Yes. So, hey, if I can save 4 miles per gallon and it's because my check engine light's on, I'm going to get it fixed.
I just had that conversation with a customer about the check engine light. If it's flashing, we know to tell customers, if it's flashing, call us immediately. Mm-hmm. It's sitting there telling them, fix me. If it's on steady, it's not a dire strait. It means get me checked as soon as possible.
Yep.
But I did have this conversation. It's like about the emission program. This is what the state put on it. And I said, the IM 240 program back in the early 90s, the association stood up. We did not want that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There was 2 reasons behind why we stood up as an association to our legislators. This is a program that is not beneficial to either us as an industry or be a consumer friendly, because it would have meant the consumers had to schedule an appointment at the centralized station, go get tested. If it failed, then they had to go schedule an appointment to get it fixed, go schedule another appointment to get it retested. Mm-hmm. It was not consumer friendly.
No, not at all.
So they come out with this program, and I said, look, anything 96 and newer with the check engine light on, you're not running the proper emissions out your tailpipe, which you just brought up. The fuel economy is going down because one system in that whole line is starting to fail, which means your engine's not running properly.
Right.
So is it a true emission test like Philadelphia had or Pittsburgh? No. But it is a fail-safe, like it's made people more aware of the check engine lights being on. Hey, I'm not running the best. And like with the economy nowadays, it is every dollar counts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has made people more aware of that check engine light. If we didn't have an emission program in place, people would not pay attention to that check engine light again.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't have to spend $30, $40, $45 to go get my emission tested with the inspection, I'm not going to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
My car might run like crap, but I don't have to get it tested. I don't agree with that. I've talked to several shop owners. They want to do with the inspection program. They want to do it. Why? You're making right now with the people not driving the way they used to, with working from home, the miles, your average visit is already going down per year.
Yeah.
This is a way of getting them in the shop at least once per year.
And this is where, you know, I don't know if you know my opinion on the whole.
Oh, yeah, I know your opinion.
So my opinion on when we're talking safety inspection is that it's providing people with a false sense of security. And I'm probably one of the very few people on the association that feels this way. I do the inspection program because the state, you know, I'm an inspection station, and I do it the way it's supposed to be done.
By the book.
By the book.
Because that is my name, my station, my livelihood on the back of that sticker.
That's correct. Do I agree with the inspection program? No, I do not. And my reason is simple. It's giving people a false sense of security. When we put that inspection sticker on their car, people think that their car is good for the year. And that's simply not true. That inspection sticker means that it passed inspection at that time.
At that time.
Not that it's going to last an entire year. We can inspect a vehicle. It can have 2 30-seconds brake pad remaining on the brakes.
Inspection.
Passes inspection. Will that make it a year?
No.
Maybe if they only drive
10 miles,
5,000 miles, or if they never touch their brake. But it's what we, and most shops are starting to go to a DVI, digital vehicle inspections, where every time the vehicle comes in, doesn't matter what it's doing. If it's in for an oil change, we're doing a 50-point inspection on that vehicle.
DVI, digital vehicle. I don't call it an inspection because people hear that word inspection. So I've been telling, look, we do a digital vehicle evaluation.
I tell people we do a 50-point.
50 point?
That's what we tell our customers. We're doing a 50
and
point.
That's basically what it is. It's 50-some points on that DVI.
We're checking 50 points on the vehicle. We're checking tires, brakes, lights, things like that. So every time that car comes in there, if it's coming in for an oil change, even if it's coming in because they want the air filter replaced, we're doing a 50 point.
Yep.
So we're already doing a safety inspection every single time the car comes in. We're briefly checking tie rods, suspension components, things like that. Because if a customer only comes in once a year, that's not enough, because too much can happen in that year.
How often do you go to the dentist? That you're supposed to go to the dentist.
I go every 6 months.
Every 6 months. You don't walk out of that dentist office without your next appointment.
That's correct. Yep.
You don't walk out of your hair appointment without your next appointment.
Right.
Especially if it's a good one, because you'll never get back in. and the automotive industry needs to take heed to that.
Yeah.
When I first started doing pre-scheduled appointments, when it would come in for an oil change, we're looking at the inspection sticker. Mm-hmm. And I gauge, now if it's a new customer, I kind of look at the inspection sticker, see how many miles they drive in a year. Yep. I gauge for the next. They don't leave without a pre-scheduled appointment.
That's smart.
Reservation. Not an appointment anymore. It's a reservation. But it took a while to people. I've actually tried it. When the first time I did it, it failed. Mm-hmm. The second time I got back into it, I'm like, all right. I handed toothbrushes out. Everybody said, what's this? I said, you go to the dentist every 6 months, right? This is your next reservation. Here's a toothbrush to remind you. It's now nobody leaves that shop without the next reservation for either the oil service or the inspection.
Right.
And if it's something that's somebody that only drives 5,000 miles a year, I'll put oil service ? 6-month checkup. Mm-hmm. Just so we can keep the customers. And a lot of the consumers think that digital vehicle, you're just looking for work. No. We're giving you the information for your vehicle to make an informed decision. We're letting you know there may be some problems that you might want to take care of.
I call it telling a story on the car. We're telling a story, and that's why for ours, we take pictures of the tires. So we take pictures of all 4 tires. And so if we check the vehicle in last November and it's now in April and we're taking the pictures, the customer can review the last inspection.
Exactly.
We can review the last inspection, say, hey, back in November, your tires look good. It's now April. Your right front tire is starting to couple in the right front. Did you recently hit a curb maybe, or did you, you know what? I did. I hit a curb.
Don't think about it.
Yeah. And well, that would make sense why your tires were starting to wear. So,
going back to what you're saying is if they do an exemption on this IM for 5 years, how often do you think you're going to see that car?
Yeah. Well,
now they're going to have to come in and get the safety.
Yeah. But they're also getting their service, they're getting an oil. So, and this is where I struggle a little bit because I
just think it needs worded a little differently, like put an and or for mileage exemption in
and
there.
I think that's a good point, and that's something that we need to address with John and let John say, hey, all right, we see this because statistically, probably vehicles that are, this age from, going back 5 years from new, they're probably not going to see any failures. And, it is kind of senseless to do
anything under 50,000 miles. You're probably good.
Yeah.
Most, it's just a Hyundai.
Yeah. And, here's the other thing. It's a federal mandated law that most emissions components have to be warranted for I think it's 50,000 miles,
50 or 75. I mean, the Cats used to be 75,000 miles.
So that's something that we need to look at too, as far as what's the federal requirement for emissions components, because the federal government's the one that says they must have these emissions components.
And let people understand that's why PA has an emission program. It had to do with the EPA federal government. It also had to do with population. That's why not every county has it. Now, like my service advisor lives in Adams County.
Yep.
But she's in York 5 out of the 7 days a week because that's where she works.
So, and to your point, so where I'm located, Newville, Pennsylvania, I am 10 miles from Franklin County. I am about 10 miles from Adams County, or no, 10, 15 miles from Adams County, about 10, 15 miles from Perry County. Perry, Franklin, and Adams.
Non-IM.
And people, commute from those locations. Yeah. And that's what's frustrating is like...
To me, I think if they were going to instill it, we're already, 20 years into this thing now?
Yep.
2003 is when this became about. They should have made it standard across the board.
They should have.
Period. North, south, east to west of PA state line.
Yeah. Because
some of the northern counties only got a gas cap check, but they had to buy the same equipment we had to buy.
Yeah. For
a gas cap check.
Yep.
I will keep my comments to not 4-letter words. But I mean, I'm not in a disagreement with this, but I think there needs to be another writing to this about the and or.
Yeah.
There should be a stipulation for mileage consideration on this because of 5 years, they could put 100,000 miles on it, and we know there could be check engine lights on it in that time.
Yeah.
So that's where I think as an association that we need to get with our lobbyist, John Kulik, and say, look, hey, we agree, but we need to have some other wording. Now, consider this is still a Senate bill that's getting introduced into the committee.
Right.
And the way the history is going, it will come out of committee from the Senate. I think it does pass the Senate and it goes over to the House. And then it goes to the House committees and then the House floor. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
And then if they pass it, then it goes to the governor. Correct?
Correct. You did mention the transportation committee.
Yeah, so this is coming into this will come into committee.
Yeah. So this Langerholt, where's he out of? Do you know?
Oh, John has told us numerous times of where Senator Langerholt's at.
Is he new or is he?
No, he's been around for a while because I think he's been the one introducing these bills.
Okay.
Now, the last time this bill, it did come out of Senate. These bills got these IM bills did pass the Senate. They went to the House. They got shot down, or the governor vetoed it. A, we got a new House, Democratic control. Yep. A, and B, we got a new governor.
Right.
So as an association, as an automotive industry owner, we need to take heed and not think it's going to go the way it has in the past.
Right. We have no idea.
You had mentioned that earlier. Anything can happen. And if you don't have the voices to stand up and say, hey, we don't agree, or we agree, but with some changes, that's where they listen. If you go up there as just one or two, they're not going to take nothing to you.
Right.
You go up there as an individual representing 500, 600, 700 shops. Now they're going to listen.
Yeah.
And that's where it's legislation. I don't like politics, but that's the way politics work.
Yeah. And it's difficult as shop owners because we have to look at this from the consumer standpoint as well. And, nobody likes to be hit in the pocketbook with something. And that's why we have to step back and look at it from a consumer standpoint. Well, why are you making me doing this if, this kind of seems pointless? And I see that point for the consumer. And we can't just say as a shop owner, well, you're making my business suffer by not coming in here because, it's, I never want to see regulation or enforcement, because, it's going to affect business owners. I mean, that's not the purpose of it.
It's to benefit everybody.
Right. There has to be a reason that we're doing it. It has to be purposeful. If it's not purposeful, then why are we doing it?
Exactly. And as a business owner in the automotive industry, if I lose the emission program, it's a revenue stream that I'm going to have to make up.
Right.
That you had said, I don't like calling my customers and tell them they got $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 bill to fix their car.
Right.
I hate it, but it's my job. You brought your car to me. You had a problem. We diagnosed it. Here's the repairs.
What do you think? Like, here's 5 years. They're saying 5 years. No requirement for 5 years. I got two questions with that. But after the 5 years, are we going to see an influx of vehicles now needing repairs? And what's oh yeah, my check engine light's been on since,
since the second, since it ran out of warranty.
Yeah. And I've been just driving around because I know, and now we've got, cars coming in and they're like, well, if you would have caught this sooner, if you would have checked out your check engine light, you've compounded problems because, you've got 22 codes on, one's this. Now they have, instead of maybe fixing one problem over the course of 5 years, or every 5 years fixing a problem every year, now you've got 5 years worth of problems that need to be corrected because now their vehicle has to have the emissions.
But they went to AutoZone and got the check engine light check for free.
So that's something that needs to be talked about, because
I think it's twofold. You kind of touched on it in the beginning. The emission program has made people more aware that light comes on.
Yeah.
I need to get it checked.
Right.
TPMS light. How many years did we drive around without somebody telling us we had a low air pressure in our tire? But it has made people more aware. I don't know how many calls we get, especially in the fall, when your temperatures start changing from warmer to cold. Hey, my TPMS light's on. All right, bring it in. We'll check the air pressures. We'll jack them up a little higher for the winter. We put our winter air in.
Yeah,
and then
got to take
spring,
the summer air
take
out.
the summer air out, or winter air out, put the summer air in.
Yep.
But the lights have made people more aware. And to that point, I think with that, if they don't, there are going to be that group that's never going to get nothing fixed.
Yeah.
They'll just drive until it doesn't work again, or it becomes a compounded problem because they didn't get it checked out.
And so again, and this goes back to statistics. I want to, I'm assuming that he has some statistics to back this up,
and I'd be interested to see what they are, like you said.
Yeah. And I don't want state.
You don't want PennDOTs.
No, because they're
the ones they feed the EPA.
I'm not a big fan of the safety inspection program, and every time they justify their program, and they're giving me this reason we're doing this is because of this. And meanwhile, Pennsylvania is one of, I think, 7 states that still has a state inspection program.
You and I have talked about this a lot. The safety inspection program is good.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we got no backing.
Yeah, no enforcement.
We had one in our shop today, older F350, fresh inspection sticker. They said the exhaust manifolds were leaking like a sieve. The ball joints, you could sit there and flop around. Rusted frame. It was a laundry list of stuff that should not have passed the safety inspection, but it had a fresh sticker on it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that we need to get backing. Oh, the tag lights were completely missing. Now, if he gets pulled over for that, guess what? They're not going to look at the other safety items. They're just going to give him a get it fixed in 10-day ticket.
But that's not even the enforcement. I mean, that's shame on the inspection station for letting it happen. I'm looking at like the wheels and tires on these pickup trucks. Yeah, and that's that's obvious to police. That should be very obvious to police departments. So they come in, we tell them, hey, can't have wheels sticking out beyond the fender line of the vehicle.
Oh, I just had it inspected last year.
Yeah, I had it inspected last year, and then so I'm sorry, but somebody's going to inspect it, and it's fine. I mean, it'll get inspected, and they'll pass 50 police officers, and they won't say a thing about it.
And that's the problem.
And that's the issue that I have is that
makes us look bad.
It does. We're stuck doing all the dirty work, and the police departments, they don't want to enforce motor code.
I will say a long time ago, this was it, maybe late 80s, early 90s, I had an 86 Blazer, and I took those tinted screens you could put on that flat side, and I stuck them on.
Yeah.
And I would take them off at night. I would. That's what you heard. I'm driving there near the Delco Plaza on 74. A dozen of West Manchester pull me over and give me a ticket for them. And that's the stuff that we need enforced on.
Yeah.
And that they just had another bulletin come out about the tinted covers over the license plates, which I always thought failed anyhow. But now there's an actual bulletin.
There's a bulletin on it. Yeah.
That it fails if you got any covering over the license plate.
Yeah. Even clear.
Even clear.
Yeah.
Because it can reflect off. They can't read it.
Yeah.
And that's, what it goes back to? The license plate readers now the police are using. That's what it's going to.
It has to be but I'm sure there's not going to be any enforcement on that either.
They'll do pop audits on the IM stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other bill that they got introduced that's going to be introduced is 562.
This one was a little.
This one was a little long.
Yeah.
And this has to do mainly with the counties they're going to be adding or subtracting from the emissions.
Yeah, they're talking third class, fourth class, fifth class populations of areas, and whether and this is what's frustrating. Let's make it across the board.
Make it state to state because I actually had a vehicle and it was a fleet van. They're out of the Pittsburgh, Johnstown area, and depending on where they register their vans, if they register it towards Pittsburgh, where their other location is, I can't IM test it.
Yeah.
Because it's under that gross vehicle thing. I can't do the IM test on it. I don't understand it. It's a freaking 250 van.
Yeah.
But just to answer your question, Senator Langer Holt is out of Cambria County, and he is the chair of the Senate Transportation Committee.
Okay. Republican or Democrat, does it say?
Republican.
Okay.
Which, good or bad.
Yeah.
But he has introduced these bills. And this one here, I think, has to do with the counties. 562 would require DEP to apply to EPA to remove the following counties from the emissions inspection requirements: Cambria, Lackawanna, Luzerne, Lycoming, Mercer, and Westmoreland. And I think John Kulik said to add Blair County into that as well. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7 counties that would be removed from the current IM program.
Okay.
Where did they come up with that? Did the population move? And this is where, like you had just said, the confusing part of this is it's not standardized.
No. To think that a vehicle is it's transportation. You're moving from one place to another place. To say that vehicle never goes into any other county or commutes from, how many people commute from, this is the one that always gets me, is that, Perry County is a large county, very close to Harrisburg.
And to me, it's got a pretty large population.
It does. And many, many people commute from Perry County into Dauphin County or Cumberland County.
Yeah.
To eliminate them or make them a non-subject county for emissions is just right. It is mind-boggling to me as to, and again, they go by density of population. When they came out with this program, they went by density of population. Well, of course, Perry County. I mean, it's not very populated, but the people that are there commute.
Yeah, and they're not working in Perry County; they're working elsewhere.
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm not saying that some changes need to be done, to the IM program, which it probably does. Everything needs to be reevaluated every so often because things change.
Sure.
The vehicles now are becoming more fuel efficient, more environmentally efficient and friendly.
How hard is it? How hard is it to make every county an OBD2 inspection station?
It wouldn't be hard, but
I understand it would be a cost to the inspection stations. It was a cost for us.
it was. I mean, and we actually just had to do an update, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
We had to buy new equipment.
New equipment.
And I remember sitting in those meetings, people were raising steam like, dude, the equipment is 15 years old. It's
Yeah.
a computer.
Yeah.
How often do you get a new phone and you're complaining about buying a new computer?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. It's and I did feel for some of the people that just bought
For the gas cap. That's bad.
Yeah, they just bought a piece of equipment and now they're told they have to renew. And for the most part, most of the equipment manufacturers had a retrofit that they charged them a minimum amount to make it so that it now the updated version.
I went full bore because just if you did not know, those pieces of equipment were still on dial-up.
Oh yeah. We had to have dedicated phone line, which saved me money now because
I could get rid of it.
I got rid of it, and now it's so much faster. I mean, people, I just laugh.
But every 72 hours, you got to recalibrate. Oh, I got to get that little line out green or fail green.
But it's to me, let's just the majority
standardize it.
Let's make it across. How many counties are there? 60.
I have no idea.
I don't.
You
remember.
got me.
But 68 counties or 70. I don't remember. But let's just make every inspection station. And hey, talk to us because we may not be hearing from the
Let us know your thoughts. Get a hold of us at asppa.org. Email us or whatever. Look for us and let us know. You can get on and Mike and I's contact information there. If you got a question, feel free to reach us out. If you are in favor or not in favor, get a hold of your local legislators now for both of these bills, especially in the Senate. Now, when they go to the House, they'll probably have House bill numbers.
Yeah.
But that's how you do this.
Yeah, I mean, but we need to hear everybody's thoughts. I did know the amount of state inspection stations in Pennsylvania. It's
a substantial.
Yeah. So we should be hearing from 17,000 inspection stations,
and not just a couple hundred.
Yeah. Hey, I don't like the program because of this. I like the program because of this. Let's hear, because we need your voices so we can say, hey, out of 17,000 inspection stations, 15,000 of them say that this is what it should be.
Right.
Right
now, this is just you and I's thoughts.
Right.
Two people
out
of this big state.
And we have different thoughts on the whole process. Yeah. And it's we need to know.
We need to know. And the way you do that is get involved, whether it's with ASPPA.
Yep.
I mean, there are other associations out there, organizations. Let your voice be heard by the new numbers and not just one. Mm-hmm. And this is how you do that. You get involved with somebody that can bring that collective amount of voices to the legislators and let them know, hey, like you just said, there's 15,000 inspection stations that are in favor of these bills. Go ahead and pass them. We're not going to restrict it. Or we need some changes.
Yeah.
We'd like to see this change. We're not opposed to what you're saying, but we'd like to see this put into the bill. And guess what? That's going to make a difference to these senators and representatives, that they're going to hear that and say, okay, this large party of constituents I've heard from.
Yeah.
And it does. So, but if we go up there as 5 people out of a big state of how many millions of people living in Pennsylvania, they're going to say, yep, have a good day.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's where the belonging. So we've always been asked to belong to an association. What are some of the benefits? Networking is one of the big keys. Legislation issues are another big key. Those are our 2 big things, because we really don't have, as an association anymore, what we used to have back in the heyday of the 80s and 90s, because you don't have that collective stuff, because you can get it anywhere now.
Right.
These are the 2 big things that we need as an association, and member-driven association. We need members.
Yeah.
And that you need to get involved. If there's not a chapter in your area, look for a chapter.
Yeah.
Or start one. Yeah. It may be idle. Chapter 8. I'm in York and Adams County. We've been idle for a few years.
Yep.
I actually have a legislative night coming up, and I got 5 of my local legislators coming. 2 senators and 3 representatives.
That's great.
So how do you get involved? Get involved with an association.
Start
Find somebody.
Yeah.
Start something.
Go to the. Yeah. When I say we, Chapter 24, Cumberland and Perry counties, we're combined 2 counties. We just made it a point to say the last Thursday of every month, let's get together and meet. We needed to be consistent.
You got to be consistent. You can't do it like, this month and then 2 months later, let's try another one.
Because then it's like, they're not. So, the last meeting we just had, 5 of us, but it's a start. Yeah.
Start. And you had 12 at the first one?
12 at the first one. The second one, there was a bunch of people that they had every intention, but things came up. So
if you're consistent, like you're saying, I think it's going to happen. Now, I will tell you from previous experience, the summer may not go too well.
It's not, and we know that.
But you're being consistent.
We're being consistent, and we're telling people to put it on the books. Last Thursday, every month.
If you meet for dinner.
Yep. And that's what we did. We grabbed pizzas and we just, we talked, and we were like, what's everybody, what's their thoughts on this? And we just started talking. It's networking.
Networking is key.
Yeah.
It's been the biggest asset of my family's business, because we can sit here and talk. If you don't network with anybody in your area, this is a way to get involved. And now you're going to network with not just people in your area, but people across the state, across the country, because AASP is national, and it leads you to all things. And another way to network is going to training events.
Right.
And we got one coming up here.
Nice one.
Tools.
Do
you remember what the acronym stands for?
I can never remember. Technicians
and owners on learning strategies.
Yep.
It's because it's in front of me.
So I don't have that computer in front of me.
This is a good way of saving the date. October 20th to the 22nd at the Kalahari Resort in the Poconos. The board has stepped up. We are looking at some top-notch trainers coming in. We are going to have a good time up there. This will be our 3rd time doing this up at the Kalahari. I think it's the 3rd or 4th. So we're trying to grow this event. So that is another good way of networking, is coming and getting some top-notch training. That's a benefit of the association. You're going to get a little bit of a discount if you're a member.
Yep.
So look us up on there at our website.
Become a member.
Save that couple extra bucks. So what do you get for the membership fee? You're getting networking. You're getting top-notch training. You're going to get legislative backing and voices to be heard. That is the biggest thing we can offer as an association.
And it's training across the board. Mechanical, body shop, towing, management for the owners.
Yes.
So
service advisors. Yeah, we're going to look at all.
We're going to try to cover all bases.
And it's also going to be a vendor show.
Yeah,
we're growing that portion of it. We've already got some pretty good commitments from that.
Good.
So I'm looking for a good event. So mark that date, October 20th to the 22nd at the Kalahari. It's going to be Friday afternoon training, Friday night vendor show, Saturday training, two sessions, a vendor show in between that, and then Sunday morning.
And if you haven't been to Kalahari,
Oh, it's awesome.
it's pretty neat. The kids will love it. If you have kids, they're going to have a great time.
It's a little expensive to get the rooms. Now we will have a block. We have a block rate. Now you do get 4 passes for the water park per room.
Yep.
To keep that in mind, that's part of the price. That's why you're paying for it.
Yep.
And like Mike just said, bring your family. It is a family-oriented event. The kids, the family will have a great time while you're sitting in classes, networking, and becoming smarter.
And in October is always the dread that leads into winter, and it's nice to get.
Oh, it's beautiful in the Poconos if you got the fall leaves starting to change.
Yeah, and the water, you're getting to swim and go down the slides, and meanwhile you just closed up your pool, so this just lets the kids have a little bit more fun. And
it doesn't take much to close my pool. It's just one of them little plastic round things out back. You just got to dump it in the yard and turn it upside down.
I don't have a pool, so
I don't either. So, hey, I mean, anything else you want to bring up about these two bills, Mike? I think, we kind of touched on the highlights of what these bills can be.
I don't have anything to add on the bills.
It's just something that you need to be aware of as a business owner in this industry, that these things creep up.
Yeah.
I think the next time we do this, we're going to try and do more of these. I think we're going to talk about the mechanics lien that we've been as an association on the forefront of this for a
long time.
But we're getting closer. And we may have to look at maybe bringing John in on that, John Kulik on this, to kind of give us the highlights of where we're at and what we're actually trying to accomplish. So I think that should be our next topic, is our mechanics lien, and that's what we're doing as an association for the industry.
Okay.
So
one thing that we've got to come up with a name for our podcast.
Yes, I know we go.
So I'm gonna ask the people that watch this,
put us in the comments.
Yeah,
give us some ideas.
Give us some ideas as to what we should call this. We were trying to, I've been going back and forth, but then I thought, we're member driven. Let's let the members come up with the name.
That's a good idea. Give us your information in the comments below.
This isn't Bret's podcast, and it's not.
No, this isn't my podcast. This is our podcast.
It's your equipment, and it's a nice setup. But it's we gotta come up with something so that brings some excitement to it, because I think this is great. I'll sit down and watch podcasts and listen to podcasts more than I watch TV.
A lot of people are. Now, we're not to the level of a lot of those podcasts.
No.
It's only our second one. But yeah, if you're watching this, in the comments section, give us a suggestion for what you think we ought to call this.
Yeah.
Any topic ideas you'd like to discuss on it. And if you'd want to come and be a guest on it, I can bring you in remotely if I have to. So that you don't have to come to my basement studio and do this. I can do this remotely, so we could bring you in from your house. So give us those comments in this, so we have an idea of how we go forward, because this is something right now we're just topping on some of the legislation that's out there that's been affected, or how can it affect your business, and is it something important you should? Because a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They don't pay attention to the legislation.
No,
it just happens.
It happens, and then they're like.
So we feel as an association, this is what we bring to you as the member, the information you need to make, so you're aware of it. Some of these bills that get passed could change you dramatically if you don't pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah, then it's too late.
So I don't know. I had a good time, Mike.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me again. I guess I did something right the last time.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it until somebody kicks me off and says, "You stink."
They might tell me that too. And say, Mike, you run the show.
Get that Bret guy off.
He swears too much.
Drinks too much beer.
So check us out, AASP-PA.org. Like us on Facebook. Give us your comments on anything out there. So appreciate it, Mike, for coming down here.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to have to do this again. We'll have to set another date and put another one out.
Like once a month, at least.
Once a month. We'll work that in. All right, buddy. So, hey, man, thanks for coming out.
Bret.